Peace and blessings. Welcome to I Am the Data. I am one of the hosts, Jeannie Muhammad, the other host and the founder of I Am the Data is Nathaniel Evans. Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. We have a special guest that I am truly looking forward to having our conversation with. But before we start out, I just want to introduce myself. And then when Nathaniel is ready, he will introduce himself. I am Jeannie Muhammad, your global happiness expert.
There
My
she go.
mantra, oh, that's our guest. Oh,
That
that's
is Shawanna
wonderful.
Vaughn. Awesome, awesome
Shawanna.
woman.
Okay.
As Jenny was saying, I'm Nathaniel Evans. I focus on leadership and spirituality within our people and also within our communities. My leadership and my path has actually led me directly into the path of Shawanna Vaughn. We became friends without confirming. She had come back in, but without confirming that we were friends. We became friends because of the spirit of the journey that actually was on. And we use the spiritual journey to be the essence, of our friendship. Not according to, oh, I have more money than you, I have this fancy car, or I live in a penthouse. No, but according to doing what I would say the will and the work of the Most High. To see harm that's in the world and actually strive to uproot it, from the core. And this is one of the things that I actually love about Shawanna Vaughn is that she sees harm in the world and actually strives to correct it, you know,
Right.
to pinpoint that harm and to even show our leaders that has actually been leaders, been leaders with wool over their eyes to actually pull these wool off their eyes and actually start living their best life, and actually start, holding people accountable that's in these positions that are not doing the work that they're supposed to do. So this is
Right.
one of the reasons why we're here today is to talk about the path of Shawanna Vaughn, what she's been doing, how she's been doing it, and where does she actually see herself going, and who's going to basically travel with her on this path because we can't do it alone,
No,
right?
we can't.
So we're looking to see where she's at. So
Okay, and while you're doing that, Nathaniel, I did want to share my mantra for today with our audience. And my mantra for today is that I am grateful for this life to have an opportunity to be better than I was yesterday. So here we have our guest back, and you go ahead, Nathaniel. Thank you for that moment.
yeah, definitely. This is Shawanna Vaughn. Oh my God, it's a pleasure to see you, to have you on this
Yes,
platform.
thank
I've been
you.
trying to get her, but she's actually running for president, so haven't been able to get her.
Oh,
But
okay.
nah, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. But Shawanna Vaughn, she's the CEO of SilentCry. She also wrote a bill, W76337 Shawanna Act, to change, the post incarceration. What's that? The post incarceration, post traumatic prison disorder, right? And that actually is to show that when people come out of prison, that they are affected by that prison environment, and that the society that we're living in doesn't pay attention to it. They denounce it. You out, you free now. You can live your best life, but it's traumas that took place against you while you was incarcerated that are still following you to this day. And it's just like people that come out the military. It's the same thing with people that go into these institutional foundations. And Shawanna Vaughn has actually, pinpointed that issue and actually bringing it to the surface so we can actually start seeing the harm that we participate in within the society under the
Okay.
name of saving society or trying to cleanse society of the bad fruits. We're actually creating more bad fruits in our society. So with that, I'm going to allow Shawanna Vaughn to introduce herself. You got to unmute yourself, and we're on the road. You still muted. Oh, there you go.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you so much. Um, Absolutely. Thank you, Nathaniel, for doing the show. Thank you to Miss Mohammed. You guys are absolutely amazing. Um, and thank you for talking about real issues. And for me, post-traumatic prison disorder is a real issue. Mass incarceration and mental health affects 70 million people in this country. And for those of us who are not clear about numbers and data and how important they are and how misconstrued they can actually get, 70 million people are affected by mass incarceration in America. That's just
Mm.
us because we're the most punitive country in the world. And prison
I,
exacerbates our mental health, and there's no help. And we can't expect legislators to help us when they don't understand our pain. We cannot expect people to write for us or do the things in our betterment if they have not been incarcerated. And so I understood, even going to Washington last week, that our legislators are lost and they're without knowledge of a lot of things because they don't even pay attention to their constituent base. And that's a
mm.
problem. But I think, as a formerly incarcerated individual who's been through pain, I took all my trauma and I wrote it, not for my enjoyment, but for the betterment and the wholeness of others, including myself. And I tell people all the time, I'm not well. I mask as if.
Mm.
But we're all broken in some form or fashion. We're just all broken differently. But incarceration broke me to a point where I thought I would never be whole. And if prison is the thing that broke me, then who is supposed to repair me? They have um, a mission statement of correction and do no harm. And we're very clear that it is the most vile, violent place in America. And it does harm. It does not heal. It is not holistic. It is not therapeutic. And I am calling on the New York legislature and those who vote and those who care about legislation to pass post-traumatic prison disorder in this next legislative session coming up in January. Because mental health and mass incarceration is vital. And
Mm.
how do you want your neighbor to show up? How do you want the person on the PTA to show up? How do you want fathers to show up in the community? How do you want mothers to come home and stabilize if we don't ever treat the root cause of the problem? And in this instance, Nathaniel, like I, know that prison did not fix any of our problems. It exacerbated the behavior, it exacerbated the mental health issues times 10. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
and we hear
Yes,
people
I
say,
agree.
yeah, people are not safer because people are in prison. That's unequivocally not true. You're not safe because there's 2.5 million people locked up. You're no safer.
I like to share a story. I like to share a story, right? I was working and I'm basically in this facility as as an inmate, whatever they want to call it. And I was in mid-state correctional facility. And I was a facilitator for their basically ART, aggression replacement training program. And that's basically to teach brothers, how to control their anger, or even see the signs of the anger before they actually turn into violent tendencies. And it was one of my colleagues, that was telling me, because I was so adamant about the destructive element of the system that I was in. And he would tell me, "Oh, you're racist. You're a racist person. You don't like white people and things of that nature." And I said, "You know what? I'm not going to have an argument with you. I'm going to let you see this in real time. You got to see this for yourself." So we actually came together. It was like five of us. We came together and we created a booklet so we can actually teach the curriculum, easily. So we can hand out booklets to each participant, and it would go faster for us instead of shuffling through a lot of papers. And the counselor, a white guy, came into the room one day. And he said, and the guy I was talking to, he told the counselor, "Yo, man, this book that we created, thanks for approving it because it made our job so much easier." And then the counselor said to him, "Well, look at it this way. When your son comes to prison and teaches the curriculum, it's going to make it easier for him as well." So we just we're just standing there, and I looked at him and I said, "I told you right in front of the guy. So I told you what this was about, and you're not paying attention." You know what I'm saying? You had to learn this the hard way. He had to introduce your son into the equation because they're eating us. As the scripture, the Most High said, "They eat my people like bread." So they're eating us in the land. They're using us for their development, and we don't even see it. We think that we're incarcerated because we committed a crime. We're incarcerated because they created the elements of crime within our communities on a larger scale, not just for African Americans, but for every nation that actually was not able to grasp the propensity of society, which is actually to become a rich and wealthy person, because the only way you can actually protect yourself in society is actually becoming rich and wealthy. So he didn't understand this, and I tried to show it to him, but he had to learn this on his own. And this is what's happening to us, that we don't actually see basically the sheep in wolf clothing. We don't see it, right? And this is why individuals like Shawanna exist. This is why individuals like Jeannie Muhammad exist, right? Because we have different purposes to bring in the world and reveal for others to actually save their lives and to be able to move forward. I was with Shawanna last night at a dinner, for a daughter, which was a great event. I was actually happy I was there. But when you go to places not for one reason, but for multiple reasons. And as I was sitting there, I've learned something where people are not able to grasp what's really happening to us as a people, right? It doesn't matter what your nationality is. We're not paying attention that this world is here for us to live, to enjoy, and to prosper on every given level. Not just one level, but on multiple levels. And so from yesterday, I saw that, let's really start making some changes. Shawanna came up with a phrase yesterday, and I wanted to repeat that phrase because it floored me. And if she don't remember, I'm going to remember it for her.
Tell me
Remember
what
the
it was.
phrase you
We
told me
said a
yesterday?
lot yesterday.
Oh, so
Huh?
you told me the phrase "pimp the felon."
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That is exactly what is happening right now. It's at the light on the left. That's exactly what's happening right now. We are being pimped. I mean, at all time rates, with our eyes open, the nonprofit sector of America is pillaging and raping us and re traumatizing us. And we are like whores on the corner for the highest bidder, which is the nonprofit. And it is absolutely disgusting. And we talked about this yesterday because I'm tired of watching the nonprofits. Um, I'm utterly disgusted that even people who are formerly incarcerated, who are running these big nonprofits in New York, um, are becoming the slave master and the whip, and it's disgusting. And so, like I told you yesterday, I'm ready to unionize formerly incarcerated people because without us, there is no grant money. Without us, there is no story to tell. Without us, there is no trips to Congress because without us, you can't do anything capitalistic without us. And so rather than be used like tools, how about we create our own entities and take agency of ourselves? We do not need to be puppet mastered. We don't need that. We don't need people to fly us around and give us trinkets and sack lunches like prison and gift cards to tell our story. When we don't have insurance,
Mm.
we don't have home ownership, some of us don't have banking, we lack too much to still be slaves while we're free. And we don't demand anything as Black people. And as formerly incarcerated people, we demand even less because we feel nobody's listening. Well, I have the audacity to believe that there should be fair wages for all. I have the audacity to believe that just because I'm formerly incarcerated does not devalue my value. And what formerly incarcerated people don't understand is while you tell your story, it becomes property of the org that's recording you, and they're getting grant money off of you, and you're getting nothing. Not even accolades. And I don't need accolades when your 401k and your grandchildren are secure. And I keep telling people before you get up to speak, look at the board and look at what color the board is, and look at the net worth of the organization that you're going to speak for. And know that you're being robbed in your face. Know that they're disguising as do-gooders and allies when they're capitalists and racist and white supremacists. And
Mm.
they're getting tired because I said I'm getting ready to go on an all-out war around the country campaign to end slavery after slavery. Because this nonprofit sector is slavery. And we are not horses and we are not seals. You give a horse a sugar cube to do a trick and a seal a fish. Well, I'm not a horse and I'm not a seal. And
You
we don't
know,
need to do no more tricks. And we don't
that's
need
right.
to be pimped any further.
Yeah. I was working for an agency and I wrote an article about it, so I would say it right now. The Women Prison Association. I was working with this organization and they said that they cater to women that come out of prison. So when I went to organization, I saw no resources or tools for the women that came out of prison.
Come
I saw
on.
no panties, no bras. I saw no feminine napkins, no slippers, no robes, no nothing. I
Nothing.
seen nothing. It was like zero, right? And I was like, well, where's the resources? I need the resources. And I went to the director. I went to the supervisor. I went to the CEO, and I got blackballed in the organization because I didn't want to sit there and listen to them telling me there's no tools and resources. I'm responsible for getting the tools and resources for the organization when they had a whole research and development department where people was making a minimum of 100,000 a year,
Hello.
right? And they wasn't doing the work to get the tools and resources for our sisters that was coming out of prison. And as a result, they shift me. They kept shifting me, and they would bring my sisters that work in the organization against me and tell me, you're creating a funk. You shouldn't be asking these questions. You shouldn't be going to the CEOs and things of that nature because you just got here and we get our own tools and resources. And even after that, I went to an event 3 weeks ago in front of City Hall, and they was talking about a brother that died in Rikers Island. I actually knew the brother personally. And one of the women that used to work for WPA actually elevated and started getting other high keynote positions. And I said to her, I said, yeah, the Women Prison Association wasn't providing any tools and resources. And the black woman said this to me in my face. Well, when I was there, I forced them to give me the tools and resources, you know what I mean? And they gave me everything I wanted. So basically, she basically slighted my professionalism by telling me that I wasn't strong enough to get the tools and resources while I was in the organization. Even though when she was there, when I was there, she didn't help me get the tools and resources. I also spoke to her about it, right? And then she vacated the organization because she couldn't get the tools and resources on a higher level and went somewhere else and established herself,
Mm.
right? And it showed, that, and I was disgusted behind it because I was like, well, what they was doing. You was in command. You was in a higher level than I was. They had me as a case manager. You was in a boards and you was in a higher echelon. So yeah, you was getting a little tools and stuff you had to pacify your position, but not the position of all the components of that organization. And then the leaders that came in there to fight for those resources, they would say they're troublemakers. You know, like Shawanna say, she's called aggressive. She's called an angry black woman, right? She's called a woman that's told to stay in her place because for some reason somebody created a place for her to stay in that she didn't know about,
That
right?
part.
Somebody developed a room for her to go into the room, and she never even knew that they had this party going on for
Didn't
her.
know there was a room.
She didn't even know there was a room, right? So when Shawanna's talking about our leaders being displaced, we're getting robbed in our faces, right? They're stripping us of our dignity, of our wisdom, of our knowledge, of our spiritual auras and the energy that we bring into the room. Most of us that when we lead a nonprofit, we lead without any substance. We have
We
to actually
leave
start
broken.
all over again. We leave
We
broken.
leave
We have to start
broken.
all over again.
You know, and how many? I hate to use a childhood cliche, but Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, and he had a great big fall, and he couldn't be put back together again. How many times can you break a human until they have no capacity to put themselves back together?
That's correct.
Who is accountable and atones for that? Let me tell you something. You go to these conferences, right? Everybody tells their stories, but no organization is paying $140 an hour for their therapy for opening their wound with no services. So now they have to go home to their husbands, their wives, their children, their significant other, their dog, whoever. And that has to be the person to put them back together. How long? This is what creates
Or
interpersonal relationship issues. This is why people get divorced. This is why people who are formerly incarcerated have the highest interpersonal hypervigilant relationships and that are turbulent because there's no therapeutic services involved. Listen, these orgs come to seek us for capitalist reasons, and they're as harmful as the prison cells that we sat in.
because they created from those models. They
They're
use those
created from those
models
minds.
to create their substance because before you create something, you need to know how you're going to produce from it, how you're going to actually achieve from that what you created, right?
Say that.
And the only way to do that is to analyze us, to break us down, to go into our communities, to go inside the prison systems. She wanted to talk about mental health, but mental health is not a game. I was in Mid-State Correctional Facility,
Open the door.
and they would ring a bell. They would ring a bell. You would hear the horn go, ooh. And when you looked out the window, more than half of the prison was actually on the line to go get medication.
Yeah. Listen, you already know it is against prison policy not to get the medication. They are creating drug addicts. You are creating a disparity in people's mental health because medication alters people's minds.
Correct.
And I believe Big Pharma is the biggest pillager and raper of our communities and prison. And together they have created a monopoly on a slow demising road for minorities. And when
That's
we
right.
talk
They're the
about
target.
reparations, I want reparations from the pharmaceutical company.
That's correct. That's
You're
correct.
the drug dealer. Why are
Really can.
men languishing in prison doing football numbers? And that should be the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, because you get
Wow.
into your psychosis is actually broken. I was actually working for an organization, and I basically was catering for men and women whose psychosis was completely gone.
Gone.
Like it does. When the time I got to them as a professional to work with them, it was too late. Right?
Yeah.
They
I
already
went to prison
ravaged
with
them
people.
completely.
Yeah. I went to prison with people. We walked in, they knew their names. They were live humans. By the time I got released, they were zombies.
That's
Wow.
correct.
They were
That's
Wow.
correct.
zombies.
And they,
And
and
I
they was
said,
released
who
as
are they
zombies too.
going home to? Who is going to undo this?
That's
Wow.
correct. So it falls on us as professionals because we have the heart and the capacity to do it, but we're being blocked by our own leaders. I went to
Oh,
an event and
guess what?
Shawanna was there.
But what is a leader? Because I can't call these people that. Because a leader elevates, motivates,
Yes.
empathizes, and creates space for others. I don't
So
have any leaders
we
in the criminal
so
justice
appointed,
movement.
we would say appointed leaders by those that
Yeah,
lead us, right?
yeah.
And I was up there and I had a speech. Shawanna actually recorded the speech when I was actually talking about the leaders, the appointed leaders that was not actually creating pathways for the new leaderships that was actually coming up to actually dismantle these structures that was actually taking hold over us and basically destroying our lives. And I had a black man come to me after the speech and say to me, Nathaniel, it ain't who you know, it's who know you.
Wow. Wow.
So if we want to look at the disastrous nature of why the systems are continue to abide and increase themselves, we have to look towards ourselves. Those of us that actually was put in positions to actually cater to the masses so they can buy houses, cars, women, men, different type of things, so they can live this life of rally basically off the backs of one another instead of actually
Mm-hmm.
finding the cure to eradicate what's actually happened to us as a people. Because this is not a game.
Absolutely.
We're in 2022. By 2030, we're going to be really messed up if our leadership direction does not change as a people. When you leave your
Absolutely.
house, you're going to
Nathan,
see homeless people everywhere. Get
I have been really thoroughly enjoying this conversation because I see where our people are, and in my studying and understanding the problems that we have, I try to go to the root causes
Mm-hmm.
where we are, and we see the result of the prison system, which is designed to do exactly what you and Shawanna have saying, have us go in human and come out zombie. That's the design. Now, what do we do to solve this problem? For me, it starts at home. See, until we start in our homes and educating ourselves and educating our children on how not to play into the hand of the system. And see, and that requires, and some people don't like to hear this word, but when you truly understand what it means, it is very powerful. Separation. See, separation starts not by distancing yourself on another mass, but separation starts in the mind. How do you separate yourself from the thinking of this world that is not designed to elevate us as a people? Separate from that thinking, separate from their educational system what they are teaching us in the school, which is truly not an education, but it is to make us a tool and a slave so that we will be service to the system. But the system is not designed to serve us. It's not designed to do that. So we are broken. We're broken as a people. My philosophy is that it starts with you and me. It starts with you. You know, how do you become an example for someone else? It starts with you. You be that one that is seeking the knowledge that is needed to elevate yourself. And Nathaniel, I'm all about love. I'm all about, and it has no, and I don't believe that love has any boundaries as far as who you are, what you are. Love is universal. But we as a people, until we start actually loving ourselves and loving ourselves enough to understand that we do not want to be a tool and a slave to this system, and it's not about any religious organization. It's not about who you call yourself, whether you call yourself Christian, Muslim, what you call Hebrew. It's not about that. It's about the unity of us as a people. We have to come together as a people so that we don't end up going into these institutions, because they're designed purposely to kill us. I'm listening to you and Shawanna, Nathaniel. I was in jail for 8 hours. That's the only amount of time I spent in jail. You don't know this name. I spent 8 hours in jail, Nathaniel. And in that 8 hours, I learned enough to serve me for a lifetime. So I can imagine what I can imagine in my mind, because I have a vivid imagination, what it is to be incarcerated for years. For years. It's dehumanizing. And it's designed to be that way. So I admire
You can
you.
strive. You can strive to imagine it, but
But there's no way I can.
it varies. It varies from space to space, from captain to captain, from correction officer to correction officer. From prison system to prison system. It's
From day to
all
minute to day.
that's
Yeah.
right. It always
Eight
it always
hours was
varies.
enough
Like,
to tell me that
yeah,
8 hours
8 hours was your blessing. 8 hours was your blessing.
That part right
You
there.
know that right there. 8 hours. It was a great blessing to your life.
Listen, I was held in interrogation longer than you was held in a cell for 8 hours. I was interrogated for 22 hours.
Oh Lord.
And
Correct. That's correct.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
without food.
And see,
Well,
this is
yeah.
what I'm saying, that it's designed that way to break us, to break.
Absolutely.
And so many of us come out broken, and then we're put out in this society, and we as a society have so many negative views about people that have been incarcerated, so that when the people come home, they're facing all kind of trauma and not even considering what you have. Now my closest thing, I had a nephew. I don't know, he would he was in and out of prison, because he was a crack addict, and that's how he ended up. He was selling drugs, and so he was in and out of prison, and it truly broke him. It broke him to the point where he just didn't care about whether he went to prison or not. So he was just in and out, in and out. And it's designed to do that as a people. And you were talking about how it pimp the felon. Shawanna.
That's Shawanna.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Shawanna.
Let's hear
That's
about that.
exactly. It's the new slave. It's prison.
It's the new.
It's the new slavery. It is
Absolutely.
slavery. It is.
By any other name, it wouldn't even be right to call it anything else.
Yeah, because I remember when my nephew first went to prison, you could send like packages like
Yes.
underwear and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But towards the end, They wouldn't even allow, they would only sell you what they had to sell you.
At the vendors. Yeah. And guess
Vendors
what?
to
How
make
many black
money.
vendors are they? How many black vendors are there?
None. And
They're
the
No.
not using the
cost,
black vendors.
and the cost. I was working for the phone company at the time, and I used to make, calls to the prison, and what they would charge per minute for the prisoners to call home.
That
Call,
should be illegal.
it should be illegal because it's money. They're pimping, as you
The
say.
phone is free.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
it
they
is.
charge. But they charge. They were charging something, and this is way back years ago. They were charging like $9 a minute.
Yeah. Ain't nothing changed.
Yeah,
And
they
that's
got a whole different system now set up for that.
But guess
Because
what?
you
Whose fault is that? How many? That's our fault. You
it's
know why?
our fault.
Let me tell you why. Because when everybody else picks their congressman, their senator, their mayor, their judge, they get something. We get nothing. When people want to date black people, they go to the churches. And they get these lying ass pastors and these Baptist associations and all of this other foolery that we do now. And they promise them $2 and they sell us out too.
A buttered biscuit and a
But
chicken leg. A buttered
because they ask for nothing.
biscuit.
Let me tell you something. If we want Securus shut down, we tell them we will hold our vote until you deal with this.
But
But
Shawan,
we won't do anything.
that takes unity. That takes
And
unity.
we don't have it.
And we
If
don't
they
have
told
it.
us to boycott and stop and walk, oh my God, we would get nothing. We
What
won't even stop shopping for a day in unity. It's disgusting.
speak on that. And but that's how we stay divided. That's why I am on a mission. My mission is to unite us regardless of whether who you say you are. If you black, if you're black, we all have a problem. We all have a problem. And if you are black, and I'm not talking about that deep down color of your skin, because see, we come in all kind of
Yes. Well,
colors, and
you
we
said something so important, and it was so skipped over, but I got to go back because it was important. You said it doesn't matter about Christianity or Islam. And even last night, to Nathaniel's point, there was a conversation, right, about religion and religions, right? Because we so confused in this world. And we so hung up on foolery that it don't make no sense. And I'm so glad that you guys co-host together because you show people a narrative, right? My ex-husband is from Mali. And he's Muslim, right? I don't I don't have a religion, but here's the problem. We so hung up on religions as black people. And I said, unfortunately, nobody's going to want to hear this conversation. Religion teaches hate. Christians don't like Muslims. You're not going to heaven unless you go through Jesus, right? The Quran, they talk about Jesus. He's the prophet. So the Christians don't agree with that. The Jews only say 10,000 of them is going. The this one got that, and the that got that, and the that. I said, well, if it's only one thing, right? Then how do we have all this division within these entities? If you don't agree that there's just God, then we just got confusion going on. And I said,
right.
listen, I don't agree with Christians, Muslims, Jews, or nobody. because they all teach hate at the end of the day. And nobody wants to say that either. But if you're not teaching unity within humanity, then you're teaching hate.
Okay, I do.
Because
Uh,
it
that,
cannot,
okay,
we
may I?
cannot do this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Because you
Jeannie, what's
said
going
So
on?
something
you know
so
what?
important.
And you know what? I totally understand how you feel. I understand that. I was telling Nathaniel at one time I was an agnostic, and a gnostic is someone
Hmm.
that questions the existence of
Of
God.
God.
You
Yeah.
know, and I realized that the reason why uh, understanding and trying to strive to understand why
Hmm.
what that was. God came to me, and he came to me in a very dramatic way, and one day I'm going to tell that story because it was so powerful, because I have been questioning his existence, and he came to me to show me that he was real, alive, and he existed. I went on a journey of searching for that, and where I should be, and where, I went to different religions. I went to this, that, all, and I trying to find out, where did I belong? Where did I belong? Well, when I found the Nation of Islam, I found a home, because when you say Muslim, see, Muslim is one that submits to God.
To God.
That's a Muslim. Not all
Hmm.
rituals, not all, you can call yourself a Muslim, but if you are not truly submitting, that's the same thing with a Christian. If you're not submitting to do the will of God, if you're a Jew, you call yourself a Jew, but if you're not submitting to do the will of God, you can call yourself whatever label you have decided to put on yourself. And it's a
Hmm.
See, we have different rituals in all of these different religions.
Hmm.
One thing that I have to thank Minister Farrakhan for, he said the best religion is to say, do unto others as you would have
Yes.
done unto.
Doing.
That's the best religion. I don't care if you call yourself Jew. I don't care
Yep.
if you call yourself Muslim. I don't care if you call yourself Hebrew Israelite. I don't care what you call yourself, unless you're showing love, unless you are actively, and love is an action word. It's not something that you just say, and I love you, but what are your actions? What are you
How are
doing?
you showing up in love?
Are you showing up in
Yeah,
love?
you
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 know,
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 we
Sister
still.
Muhammad, you all right with me. You just go.
That's
Because
right. You're right with me
that's
too.
what it
You're right
is
with me
though.
too.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And I wish, because of what you represent, right? I wish you could tell young girls what you just said. Because I live between New York and Detroit, and I went to Mosque number 1
oh
in
yeah,
Detroit.
yes,
And I got to go there. And Brother Troy is my friend.
brother Troy is a beautiful brother,
And
and he was in car. He came out of the.
yes, and he's amazing. You know why? Because he did a call to action, and we all showed up. We all showed up. There was no, there was no you, I, we. It was no separation. It was just a call to action, and it was so beautiful, and it was so heartfelt, because the mosque was full. It was full of everybody of all religions, because the call was for unity. And this is what we got to do more of. Even in
Yeah,
this criminal justice space, there has to be a
yeah,
call to unity in the criminal
yeah,
justice space,
it has to be.
because we're
I've
broken.
I always use different analogies, but one analogy I want to use is the apple tree. right? On
Mm.
every branch of the apple tree, you can find the apples as they blossom, right? And any person, any nationality, any beast can come and actually partake in that apple, right? It's not, oh, this apple for this person or apple for this person. It's apple for humanity, right? And until we actually start
Yes.
seeing our humanity, it's basically as an apple tree. When you want to, when you hungry or you want to, fix your digestive
Mm.
system, right? You can eat an apple and it actually increases your body and actually basically moves a lot of acids out your body. When we don't see life on those different levels, right? It's just like Christ said. He said, how do you say that you love the Father when you love the Father that you cannot see, but hate those that you see, right? So we have to be really careful on actually instilling this hate and this division in the world. And then at the
Yes.
same time, say, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a Hebrew, I'm this, all these different slangs, because at the end of the day, they only slangs, right? I was on a call one day and they changed my,
Gang banging. The minister
yeah,
say
that's
it's
what it
gang
is.
banging. We all
Yeah.
gang banging. You
Yeah,
know, we
I was
got a
on a
little
call.
gang.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was a conference call about homelessness, right? So we was talking about organizing. We're going to go to this community on this corner, right? We're going to get we're going to get signs. We're going to get a motivational speaker. We're going to call out the news. We're going to do all this organizing, right? Because we want to say that there's homelessness in our communities, and all these people are chiming in about yes, it's homelessness, homelessness. And I said, well, can I ask a question? And it was like, yeah, Nathaniel. I said, well, after we do this advocacy event, we're gonna go out there and with our little signs and our little voices, right? Can we actually go and sit down, right, and put money into a pot? You know what I'm saying? So we can actually go buy these abandoned buildings in our communities, so we can actually face homelessness head on. And 90% of those
No.
people that were on that call said, no, I got my own things to do. So I said, why am I on this call then? We can't take a direct action to cure the homelessness in our communities as a unit. Why am I on this call? Why did you
Mm.
send me a link to come on this call? If we can't say it's 100 of us, we each going to put $1,000 in a pot, right? And then we're going to go out and take a mortgage against this property, and we're going to build this property for people that's come out of prison. We're going to build this property for homeless people that we see within our community. We can't help everybody, but some people are going to be appreciated that we actually took this move
See,
because
But
it's
some
guess
not
people
what?
about
homeless,
helping people, Nathaniel. That's what's wrong. All of these different organizations,
Mm-hmm.
all of these, and when you talk about nonprofits, see,
It's a show and tell.
that's right. That's why when I decided to have my own business, I said I'm not going to be a nonprofit because I don't want any money anybody give me so that I have to answer to anybody about what my program is and what I present and who I help and all of that. Because what they were doing, Nathaniel, on that, they were all probably trying to figure out how they didn't want to give, they wanted to figure out how they could profit off the people, not how they could give to the people, but what can I get from the people? You know, I saw a sign the other day. It was saying that why have you decided why you're here? Whether you're here to be known or you're here to make a difference? Are you here to be known, money, things, possessions, or are you really here to make a difference? And there is a difference between the two. You know, there is a difference. So that those people, they didn't want to make a difference, Nathaniel. They didn't want to make a difference.
what you was gonna say, Shawana?
Oh no, I was saying I was getting ready. I had to go. I gotta jump on a call for DC, but I
Okay,
don't want to not finish this conversation.
so we'll do a
But
part two. We definitely
yes,
link in and do a part two of this. So I'll reach
thank
out to
you.
you. Let me know what's going. You too, sis. It was actually great
And
hearing
Miss
from you.
Muhammad, you got too many jewels to keep to yourself.
I
People
some
trying to
people
share. She out
thank
there.
you. Thank you so much for sharing with us I really appreciate your what you had to share.
No, and I love the fact that you guys have a platform, and I love the fact that Nathaniel stays true to what he says. Like, I want to create a better situation, and if you can't do it one way, do it another way. And he does this podcast, and I think it's amazing. And I always tune in because I said, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes or whatever I can do, because I'm hoping that enough people view this that it can be monetized.
That's
Because
right.
we have to pay
So
people for their talents. We have
Yes,
to pay people for their work. This is labor that you guys are doing, and it's labor intensive.
out of love.
I
And
love
it's
it.
out of, guess what? And you do it from the best place, but guess what? Love is great, right?
But
But your
money
stomach still gets
speaks.
hungry.
Still get
Your
Yes,
hungry,
stomach still
even if
gets
you're in love.
hungry.
love
And
doesn't.
so, yes, and I implore everybody, make a donation. Like, this is people's job. This is a job. They've been on here an hour. Like, they have to eat too. You pay the preacher, you don't know what he does with your money. Actually, nothing, actually. Let me just be frank. But you actually see these people in your neighborhoods and in your communities. We got to pay each other.
Yes.
It's a fact.
Money only stays in the black community 3 hours. That's
Speak
crazy.
on that. Speak on that.
Come on. We don't buy black. We don't give black.
We
And
hate
yet we always
black.
talking about black power. How when black power has no money?
Mm,
How?
definitely.
How
Yes.
can we build capacity and power when we don't want to give each other a dollar?
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
So we're going to
But I'm
continue
gonna be
this.
the first one to put my money where my mouth is, so I just don't be a bullshitter like everybody else. Please, Miss Mohammed, send me your PayPal app.
Hmm.
Because see, here's the thing. If you don't sow into something, nothing will be poured unto me.
Oh, Shawana, you just
Everybody watching, understand and know, if you do not pour into something, nothing will be poured unto you. So when you wonder where your blessing is, and you said, oh, but I bless nobody. Well, that's where your blessing is, in
Send
nobody.
it to and nobody. That's correct.
oh Shawana.
See,
May
because
I'll send you
people
your
have to,
information too.
you can't talk about change and not be the change. Let,
that's
let me tell you something. If Nathaniel can tell you, because he does tell the truth,
yes, he does.
I've not done one event and not paid people
Yes. Yes.
because it's not right to rob people of their time and their talents. That's
Yeah,
thievery.
right. Yeah. And there's a lot of gifts stealing around here.
It's a lot of gifts stealing around here.
How will a man rob God?
Oh, that's deep. That's a whole nother conversation. But that's really profound.
Shawana, may you continue to be blessed with
Yes. Nathaniel,
your
send me her information, please.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
and you have a
All right.
successful rest of the day.
Yes, ma'am. And bless both of you guys. And it was amazing. And I'm so excited that I made it today. You guys
Oh,
are so amazing.
You too. And I'm with
thank
you. Just let me know. Reach out to me on these causes. I bet you want to get in there and actually do what I need to do in this world too. And
Absolutely.
I commend
Because
you everything that you
collectively,
do.
we're better with each other than without.
yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
better together.
Yes.
So I thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace and
Later.
blessings.
Peace and
Oh,
blessings.
that was
Yeah,
amazing.
we
That was
yeah, that
amazing.
was a great conversation. I believe it's one that we need to have in this world. You
Yes.
know, to cultivate each other, man, is I believe is one of the greatest gifts in the world. Right?
Yes.
You can buy clothes. You can go out there and buy things and things of that nature, but to build one another up, you know, that is a blessing within itself. This
Yes.
this will increase you, as an individual, and it will actually show you. elements of life that you never realized before.
Right.
This is why we're here. We're here to increase the lives of one another by increasing our lives as well. Because without increase, there will be no increase. We cannot move forward if there's nowhere to move to, right?
That's right.
So we have
That's
to be
right.
able to move things out of our way, whatever they may be. If you dealing with something that stops you in your tracks, you have to evaluate why you're being stopped in your tracks by dealing with that thing. Are we
That's
dealing
right.
with advocacy? If we're dealing with leadership, and we're finding ourselves in the same spaces over and over and over and over and over again, that means something's wrong with the picture. That means that somebody has basically toned down the volume, what I mean, of what's supposed to be expressed. Somebody has changed, what I'm saying, the basic matrix of which direction we're supposed to go in. And
That's
most of
right.
the time, it's for ill gains.
That's
Right?
right.
I've learned this personally, and I talk to all the leaders out there that's on these advocacy campaigns that actually call themselves leaders and stuff like that. While you're in a position to change lives and use your platforms to change the lives of others, do so. Because one day you're no longer going to be in that position. You're no longer going to be on that platform. And what happens then? All you're going to think about is what you used to do or what you should have done when you was there, right? I was at an event one time in Albany, and it stood out to me. It was a lawyer. He actually had to give out a lot of money to different people. Different time, money is time. So he had to give out a lot of time out there and change people's lives. And what he said was profound. He said, I had to give these people this time because it was mandated by law and I was a judge. But now
Mm.
that I retired, I've been in this seat for 30 years. I done gave out probably 1,000,000 years in time. Now that I'm retired, now I'm going to expose the system for what it is because I retired. I done made my money. I done built my family up. I done created a foundation for me and my own. And now I'm going to go out there and save those that I could have saved when I was on that bench.
Wow. Wow.
You see?
Wow.
You see?
Wow.
This is something
Yes.
that's really, really important. That when we in these positions and we able to bring forth truths and stand guard by those truths, do so
That's
because
right.
this is what's going to be accounted to you for your righteousness. It's not going
Yes.
to be the money you receive, the gifts that you receive, the people that know you supposedly, right? It's going to be what you have done in society, in these arenas while you was actually inside of these arenas. How do you stand out as a sore thumb, right? You want to be the sore thumb in the room. And if it's 100 sore thumbs in the room, oh, that's even better. If it's a
That's
thousand
right.
sore thumbs in the room, that's even
Yes.
better. Be the
Yes.
sore thumb in the room, right? Together
Yes.
and collectively. Don't let your voice be silenced. Don't allow people to dictate you and bring harm to your life. Don't allow people to tell you that you don't have the right to actually feed your family and actually live on a higher level. When you strive for other people to live on a higher level, it makes no sense for you to be on a lower level while you're trying to get other people to be on a higher level. Right?
Right.
Don't allow yourself to be voiceless in these nonprofits. You want to call yourself a director or a vice president or a president. All those things are labels to actually silence you. They give you a paycheck every 2 weeks so you can be quiet. They don't want you to come out as the bullhorn that you are. You the bullhorn. That's why you're in that room, right? You're
That's right.
Ezekiel. You're Jeremiah. You're Matthew. You're Christ. You're all these things to bring forth life into dead spaces. It's the only reason why we're here. We're not here for their trinkets. I've been told many times about nonprofit, we don't want you here, Nathaniel, because we can't control you. You're a
That's right.
troublemaker,
That's
Nathaniel,
right.
right?
Be a
They done
troublemaker.
told me this.
That's right.
Be a troublemaker, right? Be the bullhorn. You know what I'm saying? That they don't want to hear because it's waking up out of their sleep. Yeah, they
That's
unconscious.
good trouble.
They're
That's
unconscious,
good
but they need to be
trouble.
woken up out of their sleep.
You would make
That's
it
right.
good.
That's
You
good
make good
trouble.
trouble.
That's the trouble that's gonna come back. It's gonna tap you on your shoulder when you get 80 years old, and grace gonna find you. People are gonna help you that you never thought about. People are going to
Right.
care for you and be by your side. You're not going to be alone when you go through changes in this world, right? These are the
Right.
things that you want to magnify in your existence. You don't want to magnify any people or any things that's not seeking to magnify those that you seek to magnify, those that you
Right.
seek to increase. So you can come from
Right.
any religious doctrine, you can come from any philosophy that you want to come from, but if it's not improving on that which you seek and the direction that you're in, then something is actually wrong with that picture.
That's right. That's right. And if it's preventing you from reaching out to other people, if your religion is saying that you cannot associate with other people outside of your religion, then I suggest you do a lot of introspection and a lot of coming to grips with just a relationship with you and your creator, because your creator is never going to tell you to let a religious label interfere with doing unto others as you would have done unto you. It's not going to interfere with you loving one another, reaching out to one another. It's not going to encourage you to use your other people for your profit and your gain. So we have to do a lot of introspection to
Right.
see where we are, why we're here, what is our purpose. Is my purpose just to serve me and for me to get, as Nathaniel say, these little trinkets that will these treasures that will go away, these treasures that will vanish? Because at the end of the day, what do you want to be said about you and the life that you have lived? What do you want to be
That's
said
all that
about
matters.
the time that you have done with what God gave you? Your creator gave you time. What are we doing with it?
That's it,
So,
man. This has been a great show. We went over a little bit, but we had to get that out there. And we, thankful for everybody that tuned in, anyone that actually runs across this, yo, enjoy your life, and
yes,
increase the lives of others, you
yes,
know, and do your greatest, in the world, man. Appreciate yourself, right? You have a lot to offer, you know what I mean? You are priceless, nothing can actually buy you, nothing can actually tame you, but learn to actually accept your gifts so you can actually give those gifts out to others.
yes. Learn to love thyself and take care of thyself. Now we have come to that time in the show where it's closing. We're closing. And thank you, everyone, for being here with us. We did run over a little, but it was well worth it. So, what we're going to do now, we're going to go into a space of peace, and we're going to listen to this music that I'm going to, and I'm having a little trouble here with my music, Nathaniel. So I don't know. Here it goes. There it goes. Ah, can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
This music is not ours. We don't own the rights to this music, but we would like everyone to enter into a space of peace by closing your eyes. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Relax, relax, relax. Relax the top of your head. Relax your face. Relax your neck, your shoulders. Relax. Come on down your arm. Relax. Your fingers. Relax your fingers. Come down your body, relaxing each part of your body. Relax your legs. On down your legs. Relax your toes. Relax. Take a deep breath. Let it out slow. I'm going to count backwards from 5. We're going to take a deep breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Open your eyes. Open your eyes slowly. Open your eyes. Peace and blessings.
Good day.